Once upon a time, in a town that laughed loudly to avoid hearing its own heartbeats, there lived a man named Tawo. Tawo was famous for two things: making people laugh at funerals and crying at weddings. No one knew why. Some said he was cursed, others said he was simply honest in a dishonest world. The truth, as with most things that matter, was both smaller and heavier than rumor. The town was called Irumole, a place where goats had better opinions than most men, and where every street had a story it refused to finish telling. Irumole believed in omens and second chances, and in the holy power of laughter to delay sorrow. That was why Tawo survived there. That was why he suffered there too. He lived in a one-room house with a leaking roof that sang during rainstorms. The roof had moods. Some nights it whispered, other nights it screamed. Tawo used to joke that the roof cried louder than he ever could. People laughed when he said that. They did not know he meant it. Tawo had once been a boy with a future so bright it offended the elders. His mother, Maku, used to say, "This one's destiny will need sunglasses." His father died early, crushed by a falling palm tree that the villagers later argued about for years. Some said it was fate, some said it was poor planning. Tawo, then 9, learned an early lesson: explanations do not resurrect the dead. After his father's burial, Maku discovered laughter. Not joy, laughter. She laughed when the soup burned. She laughed when creditors knocked. She laughed when Tawo asked why the sky was blue. "If I don't laugh," she told him, "the world will think it has won." That was how Tawo learned comedy, not as entertainment, but as armor. By 16, he could turn hunger into punchlines and grief into applause. He performed at market squares, weddings, naming ceremonies, and once, by mistake, at a divorce celebration. People paid him in coins, food, and favors. He collected laughter the way other boys collected scars. But laughter, like borrowed money, always comes with interest. The day interest came due was the day he met Sade. Sade sold oranges by the roadside, her smile sharp enough to cut lies in half. She laughed easily, but not loudly. Her laughter stayed close to her body, like a secret she trusted only herself with. Tawo fell in love the way one falls into a well, suddenly, completely, and with no clear idea how to climb out. He performed for her daily. She paid him in oranges and silence. It was the best deal he ever made. When he finally told her he loved her, he did it as a joke. "If love were money," he said, "I'd be broke by now." She looked at him and replied, "Then stop spending it like a fool." They married during the Harmattan season. The wind carried their vows into other people's houses. The town laughed. Tawo cried. Marriage did not cure his contradictions. It organized them. Sade learned quickly that loving a comedian meant sharing space with everyone he'd ever made laugh. People stopped Tawo in the street to demand jokes the way beggars demand alms. He could not refuse. Refusal felt like death. Children came, first Lami, then Kunle. Tawo taught them jokes before prayers. He believed laughter prepared the soul for disappointment. Sade believed in planning. They balanced each other until they didn't. The problem making people laugh for a living is that they forget you are human. When Tawo's mother died, the town expected jokes at the burial. When Sade miscarried their third child, a man slapped Tawo's back and said, "Ah, life is a skit, eh?" Tawo laughed. That night, he did not sleep. Comedy clubs arrived in the city nearby. Bright lights, microphones, real money. Tawo was invited to perform. Sade supported him. "Go," she said. "Bring back something better than applause." He did. Fame did not change Tawo. It revealed him. He drank because comedians were expected to. He joked about marriage because audiences liked it. He laughed at his own sadness because silence frightened him. When Sade confronted him, he turned it into a bit. "My wife says I'm absent," he told a crowd. "I told her I'm just practicing being a ghost." The crowd roared. Sade packed her bags. Divorce was quiet. The town did not know how to clap for it. Tawo returned to Irumole, older, thinner, louder. His children visited on holidays. They laughed at his jokes the way one laughs at an uncle who means well but tries too hard. Sade remarried a man who sold cement and spoke rarely. She looked rested. The roof in Towel's house screamed more often now. One night, during the Festival of Masks, Towel performed his greatest set. He joked about death until people forgot they feared it. He joked about love until people remembered they missed it. He collapsed on stage to thunderous applause. The applause continued when the collapse didn't end. At the hospital, the doctor said words that sounded like a bad script. If he had come earlier. Towel woke up 3 days later to silence. He could not speak. The irony was so cruel the nurses avoided eye contact. A man who made his living with words now swallowed them like stones. The town did not know what to do with the quiet comedian. Visitors came, waited for jokes, left embarrassed. Towel learned the weight of unshared thoughts. He learned that silence has flavors, bitter, metallic, endless. He wrote jokes in notebooks he could not perform. He laughed alone, soundless, until his chest hurt. Sade visited once. She held his hand. They shared a memory without words. When she left, he cried for the first time in years. The children visited more often. They learned to listen. Years passed. Towel never regained his voice. He taught children comedy through gestures, timing, and truth. They laughed anyway, sometimes harder. When Towel died, the town organized a grand funeral. No one knew whether to laugh or cry, so they did both. His students performed his jokes. The roof of his house finally collapsed. On his grave, they wrote, "Here lies a man who taught us that laughter is not the opposite of pain. It is its echo." And in Iramole, for a long time after, people laughed more gently, as if afraid of breaking something sacred. Because once upon a time, a man showed them that comedy is tragedy wearing shoes too big for its feet and walking anyway.